Hello, hello, hello. It's Carolyn Foster, Ellis County Master Gardener, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. This time I'm here, we're going to talk about some things that we can get done in our gardening, our landscaping for the month of February. I know it's a little cool and sometimes it's cold. But if you have spent winters in this area before, you are well aware of what the weather is going to be like. And I know that you know that plant damage can happen even after just one freeze. And depending on how cold it is, it could be some extensive damage to your plants. But there are steps that you can take to help your plants not just survive, but even thrive after a hard freeze. It may take many days, weeks, or even months to know the true damage, but if you look at your succulents, you can tell after the ice melts off of them, they get mushy. You can go ahead and destroy those because they may recover if the roots are deep enough if you take them on inside, because I had some aloe vera that I've had for years, and the damage started when the squirrels started drinking the liquid out of the leaves. Then the freeze came and it totally just mushed up. But I got all that out and then I took them inside, and now out of the dead stem that was coming, I'm seeing greenery coming out of it as well as around the root system. So never give up. Everything that looks dead is not dead. New growth can really surprise you by coming up from the roots, but the key word here is patience. My general advice is to wait on any pruning until the last freeze. But if you see some limbs hanging down, of course, for safety's sake, we want you to go ahead and deal with those, okay? Okay, now I'm going to divide the segments into different sessions and talk about a couple of things at each session. Now, the next thing is, did you ever get rid of all those leaves? Oh my goodness, my goodness. You know, warm weather grasses stop growing through the winter. They are still actively taking in and needing sunlight though. The sunlight creates carbohydrates, and that helps to strengthen your turf and to prep it for cold temperatures. So while you do need to get them off your lawn, don't be so quick to send them to the landfill or do other things with them. Figure out a way that you can use those leaves to your advantage. And one way is you can use them in your compost beds, or you can use them as a layer of protection before you remulch. Okay, I'm excited about this. I want to say thank you to this great radio station for always hosting us, and also let you know that the Master Gardeners has a great website, Ellis County MG at ag.tamu.org. You can find out what vendors have our new 2024 calendars. You can sign up for our newsletter, and you can find out a whole lot of great information. Just go to Ellis County MG at ag.tamu.org. Until next time, I'm Carolyn Foster. Okay. Week 2. Hi, I'm Carolyn Foster. Week 2. Hi, I'm back again. Carolyn Foster, Ellis County Master Gardener. After a hard freeze, you'll find that you have some broken branches that may be unsightly. Go ahead and remove those, okay? But be sure that you use sharp, sterilized pruners to make clean cuts, because you don't want those jagged cuts. Be sure to be selective about which ones you're removing. Sometimes you will notice that some of the leaves on the end of the foliage that is still intact have frozen a bit, but the rest of the plant looks intact. You can leave those leaves on and wait until winter has passed before doing any trimming on those. That foliage, even though it's damaged, offers your plants a level of protection against the next freeze. And remember, always clean up those tools when you're done. Okay, we don't want to spread any diseases. Okay, now back to the leaves situation. When we have those leaves, if you want to use them in your compost bin, that's a great idea. To collect leaves for mulching or for composting, use a rake or a leaf blower to gather them into a pile. Be sure to remove any large sticks or debris that can interfere with the composting process. You can also shred the leaves with a lawnmower or a leaf shredder to speed up the decomposition process. If you don't want to spend those extra hours or minutes shredding or mowing, you can just toss the leaves into something if it's for your compost bin, if it's not already assembled. But you can take a piece of wire, make it into a circular compartment and throw the leaves over in there, and then you can add the green materials that you want to help in your compost bin, like kitchen scraps, grass clippings, and other plant trimmings, and that will help to produce a balanced mix by contributing carbon and nitrogen to the pack. And it also help them the leaves decompose quickly and more efficiently. All right, that's great. Okay, until next time, it's Carolyn Foster, Ellis County Master Gardener. I'm tie-tongued today. Okay, and I'll see you on the next clip. Bye. Okay, week 3. Week 3. Hi, it's Carolyn Foster, Master Gardener, Ellis County, and I'm back again. This time we're going to still be talking about freezing, and we still going to talk about those leaves again. But let's get started with the freezing. Extra tips for freeze preparedness. You can be ready for the freeze, okay? Okay, a day or two before the freeze is predicted, check your soil's temperature. If the soil is dry, you want to water it deeply, it and the plants. You want to mulch around the base of the plants and keep them warm and insulated from future freezes. And consider adding cold hardy varieties of plants that have been conditioned to deal with some of the freezing temperatures. And we'll talk about those just a little bit later. And as always, you can go native because they are used to our climates. Be prepared for a freeze by having that stuff you need to cover the plants, or by moving them into a protected enclosed situation, possibly indoors or where they won't be subject to the freezing temperatures. When in doubt, cover it up, okay? But I want you to relax because you're getting ready for spring and the hard work, and be assured that spring will come soon, all right? Now, back to the leaves situation. Last time we talked about the compost bin, but what if you want to just use your leaves as a mulch? And I do that all the time because I have a large Bradford pear that really sheds, and I just rake them up and throw them over in the flower beds and let them just degrade on their own. And at some point I usually work them into the soil, and it helps really to condition it. And you can do the same thing. Simply collect the leaves and pile them around the base of your plants to use as mulch. This will help protect them from harsh weather conditions, while also providing valuable nutrients to the plant. Just make sure the leaves are not piled up against the stem of the plant or the trees. This could cause rotting. When using leaves as mulch, form around them a well, sort of like a donut, because you don't want to get too close to the stem, and create a water well. So when you need to water, you won't be wetting down the leaves, causing them to rot and decompose too close to the base of the plant. The layers that you put around the plants or trees should be at least 2 inches thick to provide adequate insulation. As the leaves break down over time, they will release nutrients into the soil and help retain moisture. What a great way to dispose of the leaves while benefiting your garden. Until next time, I'm Carolyn Foster, Ellis County Master Gardener. It's been a pleasure. Okay. Hi, welcome back. I'm Carolyn Foster, Ellis County Master Gardener, and this is week 4. Hi, welcome back. I'm Carolyn Foster. Now, if you been thinking about adding some trees or some shrubs to your landscape, or even some perennial woody plants, now fall is really the best time for tree planting and shrub planting, but early spring and late winter is also acceptable. Although cold weather shuts down the growth of the tops of trees, it does the opposite for the roots. The roots of the trees, shrub, and woody perennials actually have a growth spurt through cooler weather. When it comes to growing trees, it's the roots that we are concerned with most and trying to get them established. Now here's a few more tips about planting your trees and your shrubs. You dig the hole no deeper than the height of the root ball and twice as wide. Backfill the hole with the native soil that you dug out when you were getting ready to plant. If your soil is very poor, like most of ours are, you can amend the backfill soil by using a mixture of 1/3 of a soil conditioner and 2/3 of the native soil. Because remember, at some point the roots are going to go back down to the native soil. So you want them to already be familiar with their existing soil. Carefully set that tree or that shrub in the hole, holding by the root ball, and make sure the trunk is perpendicular to the ground. The top of the root ball should be even with ground level and sometimes maybe a little higher for drainage. You fill in around the sides, but you need to make sure you're firming the soil as you go, and this will help eliminate any air pockets, okay? The next thing is you want to build a 4-inch tall berm around the edge of the planting hole with mulch for efficient watering. Water them thoroughly, and this is a good time to add a mild root stimulator solution. I always go with a half a solution, and then I can add more in a month or so. All right, you want to fill the berm with 4 inches of shredded mulch or composted leaf mulch to conserve water and eliminate competing weeds and grass. All right, because cold weather weeds, they just don't give up, okay? And then I have perennial rye in my backyard, and it is so beautiful and green, but you know what? I gotta mow in the wintertime. But it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Now you want to start off in your watering with a deep soaking for a week when the weather is warm and hot. Increase the number of days between the soaking as the tree becomes rooted in. Watch the weather so you know what's going to happen. You don't want to water if it's going to rain. Your goal is to wean your trees and shrubs depending on you for water as opposed to a natural rainfall. The advantage to fall planting is that very little supplemental watering is needed during the fall, winter, and early spring. Your fall planted trees and shrubs should be well rooted by the summertime. All right, to prevent weed damage by weed eating too close to the plants, you can use what they call a rubber tree boot that goes right around the base of the plant at the ground. And when you're weed eating, if you do a oops, then you haven't damaged your tree, okay? Trees also, in case you have a tree that is swaying a bit too much in the wind, you can go ahead and stake that tree, okay? But you want to make sure that your newly staked trees shouldn't have to be staked for longer than 6 to 12 months. And they also should be able to flow naturally in the wind swaying. Shrubs should not have to be staked at all. But for any tree that you do have to stake, it's a good idea to remove that after 1 year, okay? Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is your tree or shrub does not need to be fertilized for the first 6 months. sometimes we get in the habit, we just want to feed it, feed it, feed it. That's not a good idea. Fertilize your trees and shrubs in early spring and fall with a tree and shrub fertilizer. That's it. They make something just special for trees and shrubs. Okay, now I told you we were going to talk about some plants and stuff that's ready for the cool weather. For January and February, you can plant your peas, whether they're shelling peas, snap peas, or snow peas. You can plant cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, transplants. You can also plant your collards, radishes, turnip greens. You can get those carrots in the ground. You can do kale, your leeks, and your lettuce. Then, if you're talking about plants, some of the coal lovers are pansies, snapdragons, and that ornamental kale in white or red is really good. Cyclamens are good. You can also have dianthus and that dusty miller. You really have to take it out. It lasts so long. All right. One other thing, and then I'm going to have to get out of here. You can notice now before you start to augment your mulch, and usually I use the same color all the time. So once I turn the leaves over into the soil, then I just sprinkle the same color mulch over it. That way I don't have to go through the expense of buying all new mulch. I like to economize. But back to the subject. You will notice that your bulbs are now coming out of the ground. So this is a great time. And I say I'm going to do this every year, and I have yet to do it. But I want you, don't be like me, okay? You go ahead and do it. Make a chart of your gardens and your various beds to see where the tulips and daffodils and anything else that you have planted, your bulbs, where they're coming up. You can mark it so when they're gone, you still know where they're going to come back to. Sometimes you have to thin those out too. And now, while there's a lot less mulch and stuff on there, you can also do a little fertilization on some you've been had in the ground for a long, long time. Okay, we got a lot done, didn't we? Of things you can do for February. Now, don't forget the website. Until next time, I'm Ellis County Master Gardener Carolyn Foster, and it's been my pleasure. Goodbye.